everyone. I'm Courtney Fallon, and welcome to the Game Plan on Reach TV, your insider guide to key NFL action. This is the Game Plan's holiday special, so wherever you are, however you're celebrating, happy holidays, everyone. In this episode, we will be discussing the standout NFL performers and teams of the season, and to do so, I pulled the best of the best from the Believe Podcast Network to crown our winners. So let's get right to it. First, I wanted to get some insight on who has dominated the offensive side of the ball. This is a tough one because we have witnessed some amazing performances this season, from Tyreek Hill running circles around defenders to Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, dropping dimes for the NFC's best team in the 49ers. So my first question is, who has been the best offensive player so far this year? And here's what our panel had to say.
The holidays are a special time of year, and you know who's been playing special is Tyreek Hill. The Cheetah leads the league in 6 receiving categories: yards, touchdowns, yards after the catch, plus 20 and 40-yard catches. Is he going to have a first down? 71% of the time. But you know he's going to get the ball, and he still catches it and takes it to the house. I mean, he's been running all over through defenses this entire season. That's my offensive player of the year.
He is the most dangerous and scariest offensive player in the NFL right now, and that continues to be true this season. And all you really need to know is that he was on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single season receiving record in 16 games. So not even needing that extra 17th game. Of course, we know that he's gotten hurt, that pace thrown off a little bit, but he still has 97 catches for 1,542 yards this season with 12 touchdowns. Those last 2 numbers lead the league. I mean, if you're picking a player other than Tyreek Hill as the offensive player of the year, in my book, you're wrong.
Tyreek Hill, exceptional. Already over 100 receptions of the season. This guy's rewriting the record books, not only for receivers with the Miami Dolphins franchise, but across the landscape of the National Football League. This guy's about to do something that's never been done in the 104-year history of our league, to have 2,000 yards receiving in a single season.
Well, he's not going to be the MVP, but I'm going to take Tyreek Hill. I think that's an easy one.
Tyreek Hill, I would say that was definitely going to be 1A for me, and 1B I would put at Christian McCaffrey. So that would be my offensive player.
Yep.
My offensive player of the year is Christian McCaffrey. He's put up some crazy numbers this season. Week 15 just marked his 11th game of the year with at least 100 yards from scrimmage. He's also had his 15th career game with at least 1 rushing touchdown and 1 receiving touchdown, tying Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk for the most in NFL history.
Ooh. Tyreek Hill for me. Still think he has an outside chance of getting 2,000 receiving yards, which has never been done. So that would be awesome.
My offensive player of the year has been offensive to watch as the Seahawks. It's a two-headed monster of Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. It's just unstoppable. And no matter how much I hate the Niners, I have to give respect.
Those are all some great names, but here's my pick, and it's got to be Tyreek Hill. Give him all of the flowers. He sat out Week 15, and he still might break that receiving record for wide receiver, and over 2,000 yards. He's in contention for MVP. On a lot of people's books, he is the most dynamic, the most unstoppable. My vote goes for Tyreek Hill. Now let's jump to the other side of the ball, and we all know that defense wins championships. And we have seen some amazing performances so far this season defensively. Micah Parsons has been dominating opposing offenses all year. Myles Garrett has the Browns on the brink of the playoffs, and who can overlook TJ Watt? So my question is, next, who has been the defensive player of the year so far?
I'm a little bit biased on this one. I'm going to go with Davern Bland, cornerback, Dallas Cowboys. Remember, he's a backup cornerback. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying, Solomon, what about Myles Garrett with all these sacks? What about TJ Watt? We're always picking guys who can go sack the quarterback and giving them the Defensive Player of the Year award. But go check with anybody. They'll tell you that an interception return for a touchdown is worth 3x, maybe 4x what a sack is. So if you return 5 interceptions for touchdowns, you're talking 15, 20 sacks. If a guy gets 20 sacks in this league, it's probably going to be the MVP. And oh, by the way, they haven't even scored a touchdown yet. And so that's exactly what Davern Bland is doing, putting points on the board when he's making plays on defense. And so I think he should get that Defensive Player of the Year award.
Well, he probably won't get it. It's always going to somebody who leads the league in sacks, and, rightfully so. I know it affects the game, but Davern Bland for the Cowboys has, I think, the lead in interceptions, and then he's taken 5 of them for touchdowns. The guy's got 5 receiving touchdowns on defense. There's some receivers that don't have that. And so I really think they should do the right thing, give it to Davern Bland.
Defensive Player of the Year, who you got?
I had to think about it a little bit, but Roquan Smith, linebacker for Baltimore. The defense is awesome. He's the captain. He's the leader. He's got about 750 tackles. No, but between him and Patrick Queen, they make a ton of tackles. But Roquan Smith is just sticks out when I watch him play.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I'm gonna go down and double down with you on that one. I go with Roquan Smith there too. Maybe you can make an argument too for even Fred Warner being in that list too, just as far as his impact.
Right.
Again, so again, here we go again with the more San Francisco guys.
My Defensive Player of the Year is Micah Parsons. He's been just an absolute menace this season and has really set the tone for Dallas's defense. He has 14 sacks on the year, and his pass rushing grade on PFF is just over 93, which is pretty good.
Any one of those names could have won the title, but for my pick, I've got to go with Myles Garrett, who had the Browns leading the league in defense. Number 1 in defensive EPA, that's expected points allowed. Number 2 in efficiency, and they have forced more 3-and-outs than any team in the league. That's 34% of the time. 1 in every 3 times that opposing offenses have come in, they force a 3-and-out. Garrett, he ranks 7th in the league with 13 sacks, but when is that really all that matters about defensive players? It's not about numbers this time. He has been the grease that cogs the wheel. My vote for Defensive Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett. We'll be right back with more insight on the Game Plan Holiday Special. One of the best aspects of sports is that you can never know who's going to stand out in a season. There are 1,696 active players in the NFL each year, and one comes out of nowhere to shock us all. Sometimes it's an undrafted rookie, or maybe it's the biggest comeback story of the year. So I asked our panel, who is your surprise player of the year? And here's who they picked.
I think it's got to be Puka Nacua, a rookie doing what he's doing. He's a 5th-round pick, and I mean, he looks like a 10-year veteran out there. And every week, they said he's going to have a drop-off when Cooper Kupp comes back. He hasn't. They've just been stronger, together. And that's why they're playing well right now.
Oof, that one hurts because it's a Ram. But you're right.
I know.
But he was a Husky, and I'll stick with the Huskies and say Jake Browning, backup quarterback who never really got his shot, but he's playing nice, and I think he deserves a shot somewhere.
Ooh, who's the biggest surprise? I mean, C.J. Stroud's he's obviously a big surprise.
No. It's huge. It's huge. We were talking about Lamar Jackson's quick release, which was a good answer, but CJ's not far behind it.
Yeah.
He can have people about 3 feet from him, 4 of them, and he can still get the ball down the field with power. So I'm going to, piggyback on you and say that, I'm a surprise player of the year, CJ Stroud.
CJ
Rookie
Stroud, yeah.
With the numbers, they're winning down in Houston. Oh, everything about it.
I have a couple of honorable mentions. First, Devon Achane and Puka Nacua. Just so much fun. I mean, 2 young players that hopefully have a very long and bright future ahead of them in this league. But somebody else who definitely does, CJ Stroud, man. I mean, he is the story of the league, maybe this season.
These are all great names, but in my eyes, listen, I'm thinking Jared Goff and all of the Lions receivers. We can give more than one flower right here, right? Sam Laporta, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You could talk about Puka Nacua, the rookie wide receiver for the Rams, but I don't know. I just think that the Lions should all win this award. They have been the most impressive on offense. You could also say that CJ Stroud could win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but in terms of most surprising, I think we got to give it to Jared Goff. Listen, we all love to play fantasy football, and we will all claim, including myself a couple times on this show, that we made the best pick of the draft. Drafting a team is a science, and we will spend days or even weeks researching the best player to draft when it comes to our picks. So, I wanted to know from the experts on the Believe Podcast Network and our panel, who has been the best fantasy football player of the year so far, and here's what they said.
I was looking for a spot to put him on my list. It's easily Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he should be the unanimous choice here, unless somebody wants to go with a Tyreek Hill or maybe a dark horse and throw a Puka in there because of the value or what have you, but no.
Between what he does on the ground each week and through the air, he's putting up some crazy numbers, finding the end zone nearly every game. Christian McCaffrey is my best fantasy football player this season.
He's an absolute weapon on his own, and you put him in a Kyle Shanahan offense, and it's very, very dangerous. It's not fair. He's already getting close to breaking his career high of 1,387 on rushing yards, and he has 20 total touchdowns on this year.
I'm going with McCaffrey. He had 19 straight games, ties the league record, and having a touchdown in 19 straight games. I mean, and they tried to get him that 20th game, and then didn't get it, but he's picked up right where he left off after that game. He's unbelievable.
We'll switch from where we were at the beginning. I'll take Tyreek Hill, even though he's missed some time because he's a stats machine.
Who gets my vote? Hands down, number one, it's Christian McCaffrey. He is second among all players with 311.4 PPR fantasy points, 74 more than the number 2 overall running back. That puts him on pace for the 11th best single season total by a running back in history. Numbers say it all. It's Christian McCaffrey. And of course, we couldn't end this special without asking our panel to put it all out there, who they pick and who they believe will raise the Vince Lombardi Trophy in Vegas this year. Who's your Super Bowl pick? Take it away, guys.
I think it's going to be San Francisco over Baltimore. You get a Super Bowl 47 rematch, but San Francisco's been playing out of their mind, and Lamar Jackson is cooking in that new Todd Monken offense in Baltimore. But the 49ers are going to be too much and get some revenge from last season, winning this year's Super Bowl.
How about Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers? I'm not even going to talk about MVP, but the quarterback who can win in this game, they're well deserving. San Francisco 49ers, Baltimore Ravens, that's your Super Bowl. I'll see you in Vegas. Thank you for joining me, everyone.
I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl. They're sitting atop of the AFC right now. They're going to have home field advantage throughout the postseason. Lamar Jackson's playing at an MVP level, and the Ravens defense is also elite. So I am taking them to win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, if the Hawks make it, obviously the Hawks. But right now, I have the Ravens beating the Niners. And I know everybody's like, well, what are you talking about? Well, they play this week. And this will be a preview of the Super Bowl. They play Monday night, and so we'll check it out.
Just to be this way, I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks. I'm riding them. They're going to be riding high off the Eagles win on Monday night, and they're just going to be that scrappy team that no one wants to play in the playoffs, and sometimes a low seed can make some noise.
Who are you picking to win the Super Bowl this year?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I'm going to chalk it. I like before the season, I said Philadelphia, Miami.
Okay.
Looked pretty good for a long time. And
still a chance.
I really wanted to take Philadelphia and Baltimore. That's who I was really. But I said, let me do something a little different. But I'm taking San Francisco to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, and I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens at this point in the year.
That's who I think they'll play in the Super Bowl.
I mean,
if they get there, Sam, I think it could.
According to script writers, that's how it looks because the Super Bowl logo is like red and purple. So according to them, it's already been ordained. That's our picks for the awards for this season. Sims complete. Godspeed. See you later.
All right, I'm going on the heels of who the best fantasy player is and who I think has had a runaway MVP season. My Super Bowl 58 winner is the San Francisco 49ers. It might be the Niners' year, and San Fran, they're coming back, and they're going to take the Super Bowl, win it all in Vegas. That's all the time we have today on The Game Plan. I would like to wish all of you a happy holidays and a great and prosperous new year. And remember to check out the Believe Podcast Network for more in-depth analysis on every team in the league. And don't forget, you can catch every game live on Reach TV all season long. We got plenty of football to cover in January, so we're just getting started. We'll see you next year.